Hello, America. How y'all doing? Um, Hope our brothers and sisters out there are doing good. Good to see you, Kevin. How you doing today?
See you, Tim.
Well, unfortunately, folks, we got some bad news. Our scheduled guest cannot come on today due to some personal situations. So, unfortunately, we don't have a show. And we didn't have a plan B, which is my fault. So, unless somebody can send something to us in the chat here in the next minute or two, we're just going to call it a day and say we'll see you next week. Let's see. We are still looking for Desert Storm veterans who were exposed to sarin gas to come on and talk about your experiences. Tell us your story. Help us out, because we are not only fighting for Purple Hearts for you, but there's other benefits that could possibly come your way. So, but we need your stories. So if you could email us at the email that's scrolling underneath and say, yes, I'll come on your show and talk about being exposed to sarin gas and what the government did to me afterwards. And that's going to not only help us out, it'll help you out, and it'll help our brothers and sisters out as well. We as veterans, and I know Kevin will have something to say about this here in a minute. We need to band together, people, if we want to get more change to happen. You saw what it took to get the PACT Act passed. Now, to get other legislation passed, we have to band together. We have to tell our stories. We have to break out of our ignorance and our shells, and we have to talk about ourselves, and we have to talk about our service in order to get change done. What do you say about that, Kevin?
We've made a lot of progress with, for those of you that don't know what the PACT Act is, on top of the 12 that were added by the VA prior to the PACT Act being signed on August 10th, respiratory and cancers aligned with burn pits and other tougher presumption, which is the key, because if it's presumed that you have this illness conditions and you were deployed to those locations under the PACT Act, then our opportunity to file claims, over 160,000 claims have been filed so far. We need more, but for the sarin gas and the Gulf War, that's huge. The syndrome, and after 30 years, they found out that there was sarin gas and being used that warrant the opportunity to possibly, and the benefits that you're able to get from that exposure. So and if you don't want to come on and you want to tell us your story, or you want to write something down and submit it to us, we've got to have each other's backs. We got to have each other's six on them, to be able to come to Congress. We have the members of Congress and the Senate and the House that will listen and several years on this stuff, and they just want to hear more stories and get it actually happen. So that's what we're trying to do by trying to get these veterans to come on and tell us your story more, and hopefully we can get something like we did on the PACT Act. Tim?
Yeah, it takes more than one voice. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of dedication. It takes veterans speaking up for once. You saw us band together for the PACT Act. Now we got to do it for you folks that were exposed to sarin gas. So please contact us. And as far as the PACT Act goes, if you want more information, you can go to va.gov/PACT /PACT. That's the VA's website, va.gov. Then /PACT. It takes you straight to all the information you need to know about the PACT Act. There's even a link on that in that area to get to the burn pit registry. And we highly suggest everyone, even if you've already gotten your claim approved for your exposure, if you have not signed up on the burn pit registry, please do so. It can only help other veterans out by signing up on that PACT Act, on the burn pit registry. I'm sorry.
Now, I know Sheriff Brown's doing round tables, right? Is he still knows up?
Yes, he's still doing round tables throughout the state of Ohio. I've participated in several. Matter of fact, just last week, I participated, and actually, I was able to help 2 young veterans out that were there. Both of them were in Iraq and Afghanistan. Both got a little reoccurring, continuously annoying little cough. I was like, that's the start right there. That's the start.
Yeah.
You got to become proactive. Sign up on that burn pit registry. Click that box that says, I want that physical. Matter of fact, I think it's automatic now. They schedule for the physical now. You no longer, I don't think you have to check that box, but in case you do, check that box, get that physical. And the reason we say get that physical is because, one, it's going to list everything that they find wrong with you and that will be put onto the burn pit. Then you'll be able to put that onto the burn pit registry, or it will be added on for you. You are supposed to be able to make changes to the burn pit registry now. Before you were not. Now you're supposed to be able to. I checked it and I was able to update my information. So hopefully it's working for everybody now. But the reason we want you to do this is because if you have an illness that's not on the presumptive list and they see there's a trend amongst other veterans that they're having the same illnesses that you have, that gives us more power to go and get it put onto the presumptive list.
Correct. 100%. I know Senator Peters, a press conference or roundtable here in the lower part of Michigan next month. I'm sure other senators and congressmen and women are doing the same thing. So if you're in another state besides Michigan and Ohio, and you can get a hold of your congressional delegates to find out, I would implore you to show up and as much information as you can about the PACT Act. I know there's about 8 one-pagers, Tim?
Yes.
So there's plenty of information from Vietnam, Gulf War, Afghanistan, eligibility requirements, so on and so forth. The VA's so far about getting the information out. They're going to start processing the claims after the new year. I know some of the congressional delegates have switched over. We had 3 or 4 in Michigan that won seats, and I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat. That's not my point. It's just new faces, so they're going to get inducted their offices, and they're going to have a little bit of time. But senators, since majority of them did not run this year for re-election, candidates or political affiliations or whatever, get to one of those briefings, find out the information. 160,000, but we estimate almost 5 million, roughly about 5 million or so.
Yeah, we estimate 3.5 million veterans from Afghanistan and Iraq. Then add Desert Storm and Vietnam veterans. We think it's up to, if not more than 5 million veterans affected by this law.
So get a chance, get out there, /PACT or PACT Act, Google it. We'd love to hear from you. the website or the link for the website here that you can contact us, get that information out, share that information. Social media aspects, the whole 9 yards. Just get a chance to get out there, you let people know, get informed. I think it's 1 in 6 know somebody who was exposure that we
Yes.
know of. So
Yeah.
know,
I like
got
to. I like to call this the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon toxic exposure. Somebody knows somebody who knows somebody who's been affected by burn pits.
true story.
Yes. Now, I need to apologize to everybody because every episode now we're dedicating the episode to a fallen hero. So since we're talking, we might as well go ahead and put some content out there today. We're dedicating this episode to, just waiting for his things to show up, Master Chief Petty Officer Craig Allen Kronwitter. He served in Desert Storm. He was born in 1963 and passed away in just this month, just a few days ago, actually. I do not know where he resided, but I do know he served in Desert Storm. He was in the Navy, and we're dedicating this episode to him and his family. And if you have anybody you would like to have an episode dedicated to, our email is below. We'll be adding other emails, addresses for us here soon as I get it figured out. So Kevin can have his own box, and then we'll have another box for a contest. I want to start doing contests because we were trying to run one for today, but we didn't get any responses. But we'll do some in the future. Maybe when our viewership grows some more and we get more veterans information that they need. Now, let's see, what other veteran news is there? Two major pieces of legislation. One looks like it's going to go into next year, which is the Barbosa Act. One of the things that we've noticed is one of the major cancers that's killing our brothers and sisters is colon cancer. And colon cancer is one of the easiest to detect, one of the easiest to cure, one of the easiest to control, but it has to be detected early. And we're finding that our fellow veterans, when they're showing symptoms, are not being able to get colonoscopies, especially those on active duty. The ones that are active duty, when they come back and they're showing symptoms, they're being told they cannot get one until they reach the age of 45, which means most of them will be retired by then, unless they're, a commissioned officer. Then they can probably go on and on. But they won't. If you're active duty, they will not schedule you for a colonoscopy until you are age 45. A lot of these men and women that are dying from this are extremely much younger than that. They're in their 20s and 30s. And so this bill is going to force the DOD to give them colonoscopies, since the majority of us that have been exposed to burn pits are coming down with colon cancer, or at least, colon issues. And Kevin, I know you know more about this next one I'm going to mention, so I'll let you talk about it. It's the Major Richard Starr Act.
Yeah,
This one might have a chance yet before they
Yep.
go on recess. Slim, but might still have a chance.
I have never seen so many co-sponsors in the House and the Senate, and it still hasn't hit the floor yet. that just to me, if you're doing the legislative piece and you're looking for co-sponsors, there's over 300 House representatives co-sponsors for HR, the Major Richard Starr Act, and there's over 66 Senate or co-sponsored this bill. I think it's S 344, HR 1282. But for it to have a filibuster with over 60 co-sponsors in the Senate and over three have this bill, we've asked for special session legislators to in every state to write the House, the Speaker of the House, Senate Majority Leader, to put it on the floor and get this bill passed. So there is some scuttlebutt right now about it actually getting on the floor before January. We're hoping that this happens. And there's one more, Tim. There's it's called the GUARD Act. Have you heard of this? GUARD Act.
No, I have not.
8736, HR 8736. It's sharks. And what it does is it for accredited claims that they receive the same penalty or similar fraudulent claims on behalf of veterans. And so we're trying to avoid, if you're an accredited excuse me, service officer and you file a fraudulent claim, spend up to a year in prison and a $15,000 fine. Well, some of these attorneys and all this other stuff that they file claim, not necessarily the exact way the claim should be done or the evidence has been gathered. They just get a slap on the wrist and say, don't do it again. Those penalties need to be forward, because ultimately, if the veteran gets awarded a claim or on behalf of their attorney and it's fraudulent, or they come to find out to repay all of that, all that money that they are receiving if it's a fraudulent claim. So we're trying to protect the veteran. We're trying to make sure that credited and also the non-accredited folks do the right thing too. It's called the GUARD Act. It's 8736. Right now there's over 102 representatives in the House that have signed on for it. Just basically checks and balances for making sure that claims are being processed the correct, not being, the integrity is there too for those claims and what those claims are. So it's called the GUARD Act, and we're hoping
what's that number again?
8736, HR 8736. They're supposed to drop the Senate version. If they dropped that or not.
Okay. Now, if you are unaware, you can go to congress.gov and you can look up any bill you want. All you need is the number, or just a few words of the name, and it'll bring it up and you can read it in full. This is one of the things we were telling people when we were advocating for the PACT Act is you can go there, you can type in the bill number, type in the name of the bill, and it will show you who co-sponsored the bill, who wrote the bill, who co-sponsored the bill, what committees it's already gone to and passed through, and if it's being considered to be voted on the floor. You can read it. Yeah. You can read it in full. If there's any changes made to it, it'll tell you what changes were made to it. It'll show you the original bill. It will show you the amendments. It will show you everything concerning that bill. I highly recommend everybody use this tool.
You can actually put in the search engine. You can put, like, for example, if you know what the bill number of the bill, but you know what the bill has to do with, or what, then you can actually put that in there, and it'll actually come up with those bills too. For example, if you put uh, I know this from HBOT for hyperbaric oxygen out there for that, but I
Mm-hmm.
actually put in hyperbaric, and the 3 bills came up. So if you bill is about, instead of not knowing what the number is, you can actually put that in there, and it should the bill designator the number for you. Also,
And another thing too that I suggest a lot everyone use is Google. The reason I say bring up Google is you can type in your elected official's name, then ask for voting history,
yep.
and it will bring up their entire voting history on every bill they've ever voted on, or if they refuse to vote on a bill, it will tell you that too. The reason I'm bringing this up is because they ask us to vote for them, and they will do our work for us in Washington, D.C. Then we find out that they're not doing it. They're not doing what we elected them to do. They're trying to fulfill their own agenda or whatever. And we found that out advocating for the PACT Act, right, Kevin? Um,
Yeah, did.
a lot of congressmen and senators were posting pictures of themselves with veterans, saying how much they support veterans and how much they admire us and help us and support us. And then you go to their voting history, and they voted no on every single veteran bill that was ever introduced. We call them paper patriots because on paper they look good, but in reality, they turn their back on you veterans out there.
The last
Mm-hmm.
episode we had with Shane, he brought up a real good point that we have over 100 veterans now in Congress when the 118th rolls
Mm-hmm.
in, just to find out what kind of impact that's going to have over the next couple of years for during legislation, not just for veteran issues, but just
Now, we normally don't get into politics on this show for a reason. We just want to get the information that you veterans need out to you, such as nonprofits that'll help you out, VSOs and what they offer you and why you should become members. Um, and we normally bring up legislation just so you know it's out there and what it can do for you and why you should support it or not. That's as far as politics usually go for us.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I got into a Twitter war and a personal email war with a senator from Indiana, Afghanistan veteran. And this congressman voted no on the PACT Act. One of the reasons why he said it was because it doesn't help him out. Guess what, folks? It's going to help him out because he's starting to become sick. But you need to know how your elected officials vote for you. So that's why Google their name, put in voting history, bring up their voting history. You can see every single bill they voted yes for, every single bill they voted no for, and every single bill they declined to vote on. Or like when we were in the Senate chambers, we noticed that 2 individuals were on the first time it passed. 2 individuals could not vote. One was in the hospital with COVID, and in the Senate they do not vote by proxy like they do in Congress, in the House. So the one had a family emergency back in their home state and had to fly out right away, so they could not vote either. So it will tell you if they abstained from voting or if they were not present to vote. That's important because sometimes they have emergencies. Like today, our guest had an emergency, could not join us. They have emergencies too. They're human, but it's important. It's important to know how your elected officials actually vote and what they vote on and what they vote against for. Um, Now, I know there's in the state of Ohio, they are in a special session right now to try to get some veterans legislation passed for the state of Ohio. I believe um, in Illinois too, I think, is in a special session to try to get some veterans legislation passed as well. Now in Ohio, there's one. Um, they want to be able to give sustainable housing to all homeless veterans. I know that's back up for a vote. Last time it was up for a vote, the co-sponsors pulled it off, said that their numbers were wrong, that it- there wasn't enough homeless veterans in the state to actually pass the bill. Um, Now I guess it's back up. They redid their numbers and find out that they were wrong and shouldn't have pulled it off the floor to begin with. Is there any legislation pending in Michigan for veterans?
Yeah, we are we are working on area up in the UP on the Upper Peninsula, National
Hmm.
Cemetery. I mean, I could go almost down to the same distance I can go up to the UP. So it's up there. Location that has a
Hmm.
like in the middle of the UP that would actually give a benefit a national cemetery up there. We have a couple down in the lower peninsula, but we need one up in the upper peninsula.
Yes, yes.
For national cemetery. Uh, there's some other legislation that's trying more visits to local communities for local their visits for their posts for veteran service, i.e. the American Legion, VFW, DAV, for the community to come in and do more visits than the minimum of 12. I think they have increased that number.
Hmm.
So that's another piece of legislation that has an impact on the community because some of the local communities don't have a for kind of kicking back and enjoying the evening, I guess you could say. So they use they would like to use some availability to it. So that's in the works, and then we have the tax for the state of Michigan for 100% permanent and total veterans. We're trying to get that and find out what the best course of action is in the way ahead for those veterans. So there's a couple different things going on in the state. Of course, suicide initiative by the governor, since she just got reelected, is going to continue on, and we're just trying to those valuable network relationships, partnering together to find out what the veteran and how it impacts the state. Excuse me. Things are going on a little bit.
Now you brought up a good point. National cemeteries. Um, the way that system is set up now, if you are a veteran and you want to be buried in a national cemetery, now's the time you make the arrangements. Don't let your family have to deal with it after you pass away, because chances are you won't get in. now's the time to go ahead and get that taken care of. It doesn't mean you're planning your funeral or anything like that. It's just reserving your spot in that national cemetery.
Well, and
Um,
it's a good idea. We were what 18, 19 years old, and we're
mhm.
filling out a last will and testimony. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Luckily, we didn't
Oh
we
yeah. Oh
didn't
man.
have to.
I
Yeah,
forgot all about that. Before I could
yeah,
get on that plane and go to Saudi Arabia, I had to
right.
fill out my will. Yeah,
Yeah.
they
So
wouldn't let
I
you
mean,
leave if you didn't have that will made out.
right, and it's just being able to take care of your legacy and stress and the amount
Hmm.
of uh,
Yep.
burden that it might family members to have that done. Doesn't mean we want you to pass away or anything like that. If you knew at 17, 18, 19 years old, we'd be filling out a last will and testimony before we
Hmm.
deploy overseas locations, but we did it in hopes that we wouldn't have to use it. Or we're lucky in that aspect than others, but at least it was just one family had to take care of and help them out when trying to process the other part of that. So
Hmm.
uh, sign up for those nationals buried, and that's your prerogative. That's your right. Fill out that information. Because like I said, I go to the National Cemetery then Holly, Michigan, and that place. So it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. But man, just the sieges that have occurred for the last couple of years with the amount of um, veterans who have,
Hmm.
but that the sites are filling up and get in there and make sure that you have a spot. And by all means, um, fill out that, get that done.
And I just remembered when we were in Washington D.C. after the bill passed, and we knew it was going to get signed by the president. We, along with Kim Hughes, went to Arlington to watch the changing of the guard at the unknown tomb of the unknown soldier and everything. And we uh, took the tram up there and learned something very cool that they are now doing at Arlington. And they have what they call the Memorial Garden, and it's a tiny little tombstone. It'll have your name on it and what branch of service you were in and everything, but your remains aren't there. This allows your family to go ahead, and if you want to be cremated, they can spread your ashes wherever you want them to be. Uh, or if you got a family plot, your family wants you to be buried in the family plot and not in Arlington, you can have it arranged where you have a memorial stone in this garden at Arlington and still have your remains buried where your family wants you to be buried at. But in order to
Nice.
get into that, you have to apply for it.
Yep.
And so you need that's something else you need to look at. If that's something that sounds interesting to you, you need to look into it now because they said the family's not going to be able to get you put in there after you pass away. You have to put in for it now. So
Yeah.
now let's get on to some um, brighter news here. I don't know
Right.
what's going on around the country here, but in Northeast Ohio, Burn Pits 360 is sponsoring a Christmas card for veterans event. We're asking for donations of Christmas cards where you put in a positive note for a veteran in the Christmas card, and we will distribute them to the veterans that are going to be in VA hospitals and nursing homes over the holidays. The cutoff, if this is something you want to do, but you do not live near me, email me at the email below, and I will make arrangements to have somebody come pick them up from you. Do not, you don't have to sign your name if you don't want to. You can put your first name. I've been signing them from a Gulf War veteran in mine. Um, just put in a little note like, "Thank you for your service," or "Because of you, we're able to enjoy our Christmas." Uh, something like that in the card. Put it in an envelope and email me, and I'll make arrangements for somebody to come pick them up for you. Or if you'd rather drop them off, I can tell you where you can drop them off at. If you happen to live in Twinsburg, Ohio, there are several drop boxes throughout the city. So I know we're getting a great response here in Twinsburg, and the Cleveland Cavaliers have joined in this as well, and they are going to help me distribute the cards, and they are also having their staff fill out cards as well. So that's what we're doing here for our veterans in the hospitals. And if anybody has any other events going on for the holidays, email us. We'll announce it on here next week, because that's what we're here for. We want to get all the information out there to you folks. All events, all nonprofits, all VSO stuff, everything. So, anything special going on up there in Michigan?
Just the hopefully the conference with the senator for the PACT Act in the lower part to be able to do that. I know that there's there's a nonprofit who's doing Christmas gifts for children, and then we family sponsor children, and we have over 40 families that they're sponsoring this year. Families for Thanksgiving, for a full meal for Thanksgiving. So that, and they're going to do the same thing. Christmas wrapping, they're doing that now. Involved in the Christmas, and then photos with Santa on December 10th. So if you're in the Michigan area, check out downriverforveterans.org, the organization to be a part of. And also they're doing great things between the day before Thanksgiving. We had about almost 1,000 veterans community event for a sponsored event. I think it's called Nick. He's a big gamer, and it's on a Thanksgiving meal for about 750 vets. That was the number. So we appreciate him and his family for allowing us to. But yeah, there's just special stuff during the holidays. For the holidays is that we need all veterans to know that they're not alone. That
That's
we're
right.
here for them. We're here to listen to them. Contact your sisters. Reach out. That new access or crisis, and then push 988 and push 1. We don't want to lose for just a. It would be great not to hear everybody for the holidays, because they reached out, they got help that they needed, and they lived to fight another day, because that's what this is about, and surviving the day and surviving a lifetime. So if you're struggling and you need somebody to talk to, 988 push 1.
Yep. Yeah. Let me bring that up here.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, right there, the new crisis line number.
We don't want to lose anybody over the holidays. I would love to hear that we did not, and that would be my gift for every single veteran out there, is that we don't season. That would be a huge gift to me. And I'm sure that would be for you, Tim, as well.
Oh yes. I think it was 25 years ago, this coming Christmas Eve, my brother Dennis decided he was going to be one of 22 veterans that night or that morning. Um, so it's important to me. If you're struggling, email me. If you don't want to call the 988 number, email me. I'll talk with you. Matter of fact, if you email me, I will get other people besides not just me. I can get a whole group of people in an instant to talk with you and help you out. Now, I would prefer you to call 988 because they are professionals. They know how to handle situations. But
And they have
if you're
resources.
uncomfortable,
Yeah.
yeah, if you're uncomfortable, I got an ear. You know, I don't want any more of our brothers and sisters being added to that statistic. So
Amen.
please
Amen.
reach out. Now, let's get back onto some other news here real quick. As you were mentioning, there's Christmas wrapping events going up there in Michigan. Burn Pits 360 down in Rootstown, Texas. Not only do they, I think it's the first Monday or Wednesday of every month, they have haircuts for warriors. They just ask for like a little donation of something like canned food or something like that. And your veteran can get a free haircut. They are also holding an event of Christmas wrapping events going on down there. For more information, reach out to them at burnpits360.com or their 1-800 number that's listed here. And they'll gladly give you all the information you need to know about those haircuts and the Christmas wrappings. I don't know any other events going on at this time. I know there's probably in every single state somewhere somebody's doing Christmas wrappings for veterans at this time.
Right.
I'm sure there's in some states where people are adopting veterans families for the holidays. I'm sure that's going on somewhere. So if it is, let us know and we will broadcast it all over this country for you. All right. I don't think I got anything else. I know two of our friends, Kevin, want us to mention one thing. Well, at least one of them does. I know you saw it in the chat. Or you just want to hold on until the 26th, till later on next month.
I think we could. I think we should hold off.
Yeah, I do
I think
too.
we
Yeah,
should have
we'll hold off on that.
I think we'll hold off on that and have all the people involved discuss that in an open format. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we'll hold off on it. One thing too, I also want to send my props out to all spouses and children of veterans. Because if it wasn't for you, your veteran probably wouldn't be getting the help that they get and the props and the recognition that they deserve. So we want to send some props out to you folks. I know my wife, oh man, does she put up with a lot. So this is for all you spouses and family members out there. Thank you. Thank you for all your support.
That's huge. I don't know where I'd be without the wife and the kids and those who are supporting veterans on a daily basis, family members. It's great to have a support network and a support group that But yeah, for sure, for the kids, for the spouses,
Mhm.
because you serve too. You're serving every day, whether you're not as a veteran, you're going through the ups and downs of that stuff, and we just want to say all you do for supporting us vets, and it's not an easy task at times, but we're glad you're up for the challenge, and we're
That's
glad
right.
you're here to kick it, because sometimes we really, really do need it.
Oh
So,
yes, and and I gotta send some props out to my son. He's he's a huge supporter. 12-year-old man calling congressmen and senators and Dad, I gotta approve your speech before you go. I'm going with you if you like it or not. I'll skip school. School's not important. I'm going to DC with you.
get more of an
What a kid.
education, right? That's awesome.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
That's great.
All right. Any last words for today?
No, just tell everybody we're sorry that we were unable to have our guest on. Had a family emergency,
Yep.
and sometime we look forward to December 7th, where we have Glenn Venner, who is joining us for veterans. They're
Yes.
located in Michigan and in Ohio. They take veterans out fishing and hunt to tell us about his nonprofit, and we look forward to our month of December. So please subscribe, tune in, join us, and we look forward to.
And Kevin and I are talking too about maybe changing the time we go live to a later time of the day. Um, let us know how you feel about that. Go ahead and email us and let us know. All right, Kevin. As always, brother, thank you. Thank you
Thank
to
you very
our
much.
viewers out there. I apologize. Unfortunately, our guest did have a family emergency and could not make it, but we will get her on. Don't worry. We will work it out and we will get her on here one day. Um, so hang tight. Rosie will come on one day and we'll get to talk with her. Um, all right. Want to thank you all and hope you enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe out there.
Take care.